And that is my partners, Paul, Tony, Craig, and John. And we worked on a project this weekend called QuickCare. It is not for emergencies, it is not for broken legs, broken bones, blood, things like that. I'm gonna start you all off with the story. This weekend we went to all the urgent care waiting rooms and we talked to a guy who was on vacation with his son here in Madison, and his son all of a sudden got an earache and they had to find the nearest hospital. So they went to Google and they ended up walking around for an hour before they actually got to the hospital, and then once they got to the hospital they waited another 30 minutes in the waiting room. Not fun. They wasted their entire day trying to get health care when they could have been on brewery tours. So a lot of people have this problem. It's hard to find hospitals. It's hard to find hospitals that take your insurance, and it sucks waiting around in hospitals when you don't have to. So why not go to the nearest hospital that has the best average wait time, average service time rather. The front screen of our app right here lists all of the hospitals that are closest to you, and it has their average service time. And the green dots are the hospitals with the fastest average service time, and then the yellow and the red, medium and not so fast. All right, the next one. So this is the details page. It lists all the insurance companies that the hospital accepts, and you also have the ability to call the hospital directly, get directions, or visit the hospital's website. In order to calculate the average service time, we have a geo fence that is located around the hospitals, and once you step into the fence as a user, the timer starts. Once you step out, it ends, and then that calculates your service time. And after you get so much data, then you can create a data pool of the average service time of all the local hospitals. And once you leave the hospital, you have the opportunity to rate your experience. And then if you have a strong opinion, you can even write a couple paragraphs and then it'll go straight to the website. This is the website. Yeah, all the ratings go straight to the website, and then you have the option to look at the graph weekly. And then this is the hospital title, and this is the hourly rate. So over the weekend, we stopped by a few urgent care centers and UW Hospital in Meriter, and we talked to about 25 people. And they're all on board. They all like the idea of knowing the average service time of all the local hospitals. We talked to a few guys with like allergies and bee sting problems, and they were definitely on board. They're like, I want this app right away. Give me to the nearest hospital as soon as I can, without calling the ambulance and charging yourself $500. All right. So how do we make money? We could, after we pool all our data, after we get a lot of people using the app, and we pool all our data with all the average service times, we could sell those data pools to urgent health care centers and medical record companies and other like rating sites online that rate hospitals. And then another option we have is to advertise on our app and on our website after we get a lot of users. I'm sure that insurance companies, healthcare companies, and bingo would want to advertise. And then, yeah, that's about it. So as a parent, as a businessman traveling, and you're out of your comfort zone, you want to find the nearest hospital that has your insurance, and you want it to happen fast because you don't want to waste your entire day at a hospital. Thank you.
Thanks. So, interesting way of calculating the wait time information. Tell me what the tenor of the team's discussions around the limitations of that approach?
This is just the app that you guys can pass around.
Yeah, you want me to take that question?
Sure.
Okay, so you're asking about the limitations of the geofencing model, right?
Right.
Okay, so if Well, power consumption is certainly something on the phone that we have to consider of, okay, how much can we have this geofencing turned on without draining the battery of the phone while they're going through the experience of going in and out of the hospital. So basically what we do is in the phone, once you've launched the application, we can identify the hospitals that you're interested in going to, and we can detect if you arrive at one of those. And let's say we turn the GPS on, or we turn the location sensor on for, pulse it on every 5 minutes, let's say. And that allows us to then determine if you've arrived in that geofence or not. Once you've arrived in it, we can kind of back up that timer off and then have a longer period of time where we're not checking it, but then we'll check it again to see when you've left that geofence. So at that point, we'll be not only conserving battery, but we'll be fairly accurate on the times of when you arrived and left that particular facility. Does that answer your question?
Well, I was thinking more in terms of, say my wife has a baby, and
sure.
we're there for 3 days.
Right. So obviously we're going to have to throw out the outliers, right? I mean, if you're looking at service times, you can assume that there's an upper bound where we're going to, if somebody has a heart attack, goes to the hospital, they're going to go in, and they're probably not going to use our app to begin with, but we're going to definitely have the outliers. We're going to say you're going to have to throw away data at a certain, a certain high end, right? So, go ahead.
I think the majority of people who would want this won't know that it's out there until they're in a strange place.
Sure.
I mean, how are you going to make sure people know this? And what percentage of people are the ones who have asthma and are going to proactively download?
So there's a large population that has asthma. There's a large population that travels. There's a large population that travels from Europe to the US, from US to Europe. And we figure we'll target these audiences via maybe posters in airports, or advertisement on insurance company sites, or directly in the hospitals, even. So yeah, we would get advertisement out there for sure, online, on Google.
Also, you really focus on the service time. Obviously, I think people are also wondering about the quality of the service and all of that. And you said that there's a survey on there.
Right.
Would you aggregate that data and also give them that as well?
Right, so...
Because I want to know that I'm getting good service, not that it's just 30 minutes. Sometimes 30 minutes is a bad thing.
Sure, so the future, right? After we get a ton of users, after we pull all that average service time data, we'll have the ability the users can rate how well their experience was at the hospital on like a 5-point scale, and then write about it, and then it'll go straight to the website, right? And there's actually a couple sites out there right now that have this. You can rate hospitals, however, they don't have the average service time. And I think that's something we could really, focus on. That's something that we have that competitors don't. Competitors like search engines that have the navigation to the hospitals, other apps that have navigation to the hospitals just don't have the average service time.
When you visited the hospitals and you put yesterday, did you talk to anyone in the hospital besides the patients?
Yeah, we tried, and she kept directing us to like higher power in the bureaucracy. I talked to somebody else. I don't want to violate any rules or anything. But yeah, that we need to talk to lots of research in the future. Mm-hmm.
So I can see how the reviews and ratings and the wait times would be valuable when you have a lot of scale, but what's the value, let's say I'm your first customer. Well, on the first sign up, what's the value day one?
Your value is that you get to know where the nearest hospital is, and you get to know how quick you're going to get in and out.
And it'll also match up with your insurance. So nobody else does that at this time too.
And how do you get it? I mean, you're going to have that data.
Right, to sign up for the app, we would like it to where you put in your insurance company, because that's all you need to put in. You don't need to put in too much information, just the insurance company and your name. And then whenever you look for a hospital...
But he's right about the question about scaling of the data. We wouldn't have the data from the first user for that particular...
No, it would take a while, yeah.
So what value do you have day one, though, I guess is my question, before you have a lot of consumer data
nearest
scale?
hospital that is accepted by your insurance.
So, yeah. And you get to see the entire list.
And then you got the call button and the directions, and it was... Wait a second.
All right, thanks.